Hello again, and welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf here with Eric Sfiligoj.
Hello.
Hello, sir. So I was cleaning out my basement. When I was a kid, I was kind of a contrarian. When I was a kid in the mid late 70s in the city, I don't know what they did in the country, but one of the big things was collecting beer cans.
Oh yeah, that was
beer
always
can
popular.
collections were enormous. And my dad didn't drink beer, so it was like, there's no way I was going to get anything interesting or exotic. And, these kids would get their dads to buy all sorts of interesting things and save these cans. So I'm going to collect soda cans because I drink a lot of soda. I know people that do. And I thought, well, these are pretty cool. So I was cleaning out my basement, being the empty nester now, and I'm like cleaning out everything and getting all the crap out. But if I hit this vein of old pop cans from when I collected, I gotten rid of a lot of them. But years ago, I saved the Coke, Pepsi, the big name brands. It's figuring to be more interesting. So, Pepsi Light was one of my favorite beverages back in the day. It was like a Pepsi with a twist of lemon inside, and it was really, really good. And I'm not sure exactly why it just, I guess, fell out of favor at some point. But
I don't know. I mean, I know regular Diet Pepsi became more popular, and then they did Pepsi Free for a little while.
That was disgusting. Pepsi Light was good.
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
And actually, I'm holding one that Paul was kind enough to share with it, a team can. This was basically Pepsi's 7-Up version back in the day, and it's a nice steel can. You can see the seam here, pop top, of course. But what's nice about Team, Paul, as I may have mentioned many a times, my first job was with a beverage magazine, and I remember
mentioned it a few times, I think.
Yeah, and I remember there was one time we had this great concept idea for a story we were doing on the lemon lime soda category, Sprite, 7-Up, Team, Slice, all those guys. And we wanted to set up a chessboard with all the cans as sort of like the chess pieces. Well, I remember we spent a good 2.5 weeks trying to locate a team can that was usable for a photograph. And we finally did it. Like I said, it took 2.5 weeks, and we were told that was like the last team can that had rolled off the bottling line at Cleveland Pepsi back in the day. That would have been 1987 or 86. So the fact that you brought another team can in for me is very, very impressive. So.
Cool. Fun stuff. Anyway,
so that's our little detour down beverage memory lane.
Memory lane in the basement, my basement memory lane, which is...
Okay, we won't go into your basement.
You don't want to.
Don't want to do this.
It's still not there yet. But anyway, so there's stuff happening.
Yeah, there is stuff happening, as we've been talking about for, it seems like forever now, but it's only been a little over 15, 16 months. The U.S.-China trade war, tariff war, is still ongoing. However, we did find out some news this week, and I know that it's been spurring the stock market to go up. According to officials, the first phase 1 of the trade deal between the U.S. and China has been finalized and may be signed by the end of November. Negotiators are hopeful that this consensus on principles that has been reached will lead to a final agreement, and there's a possibility, Paul, just a rumor at this point, that China's president and President Trump may actually sign a new deal, and the signing would take place in, of course, Iowa. So,
wow.
Yes.
Maybe a Merry Christmas after all. So,
yes, very much so.
As we know, it's still a lot to be seen, though. Much water to go under the bridge before we
there's
done.
we've heard about potential deals, and then those deals have been pulled off the table at the last minute. So, again, fingers crossed, maybe by Thanksgiving we'll be giving thanks for end of the trade war with China.
Yep, interesting. So I know you were going to talk about Raven a little bit too, and I can maybe weigh in on the Dot Technologies acquisition. I was up and over in Regina, Saskatchewan, seeing some of the folks there at Dot, and I think it's a really interesting, compelling technology in terms of having having something modular that can go from one implement to another fairly easily, being the brains to automate it, but using just making the implements very interchangeable. And now Raven, having announced acquired Dot, and
well, actually, they acquired a majority interest.
Well, yes. I'm sorry, yes, you're right, a majority interest. Getting that technology, really scaling that technology is going to be the big thing now, and that was something I had asked Corey there at Dot, how that was going to go. And they definitely had a plan moving forward, but this certainly accelerates it a lot with Raven. The Raven's access to market and the resources that they have should be very interesting.
Yeah, and of course, one of the things DOT is doing, autonomous vehicles. I know they were working with our friends at New Leader developing an autonomous spreader for the marketplace. And as you mentioned, Paul, the day after the DOT deal was announced, Raven announced they acquired a company called Smart Ag, which is actually a technology company that develops autonomous farming solutions for agriculture. So Raven is definitely positioning itself to take advantage of autonomous vehicles as they come into the marketplace over the next 3 to 5 years. And, the company then will be, like I say, well entrenched and ready to embrace this technology and bring it to farmers and ag retailers across the country.
Yep, Smart Ag had that at the Farm Progress. Our friend Tim Norris in Ohio, he was representing Smart Ag, and we talked to him a little bit about it. Fortunately, when we were there, it had been raining for a couple of days, and they weren't doing any field demos, so I didn't see it personally, but it apparently went very, very well. There's a lot of interest in it, and they have some good field people out there looking to sell this thing. So there's a lot of cool technologies, and again, the big problem with robotics has been scalability. Right. How do you take that thing and get it to the most number of people, making it accessible and affordable and all that stuff? So, this is really a compelling. It's going to be very compelling, very interesting to see what Raven does with this over the next couple of years.
Yes, and one other thing to update. Of course, I did a story recently for our magazine, our CropLife 100 issue, would be coming up here in December, looking at the whole issue of glyphosate. And Paul, just a FYI, those commercials that we've been seeing as we've been traveling across the country of law firms trying to entice people who have developed some forms of cancer to file lawsuits. Looks like it's working. I know that back in July, I think there were 18,000 lawsuits on file. And they're expecting now, because of all the hawking by law firms, that by the end of 2019, the number of lawsuits could be almost 43,000. So.
Yeah, I've been seeing that number bandied about too.
Yep.
If you happen to be home and have the TV on during the day,
you can't miss these commercials.
You can't possibly miss. They're everywhere.
Yep. Ugh. Sorry to end on a down note.
Oh, well. Anyway, so that's it, I guess, for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below.
Your feedback is important to us. We'll try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.